Good morning. Hope you enjoyed yesterday's video. Chad got his bull. That was super fun, and we had a great time, took care of everything, and now we have one morning to kind of pack up and leave, but I couldn't help but get down here and try to fish one more time because this place conquered me last time. I did not catch a fish. So I'm gonna give it like half hour tops. Very limited on tackle. I've got a spinnerbait and my giant pike from Canada, and it was killing it in Canada. We'll see how it does. Trying the big pike lure. We've already got a couple strikes, so I think it's gonna be a good morning. Apparently, I've lost my fishing touch. I got 2 strikes right when I pulled up and started casting, so I really thought it was going to be a good day, but nothing after that. So I'm gonna head back to the cabin. I'd love to stay and fish longer. We just have way too much to do. We got to get Chad packed up so they can make their journey back to California, and I'll get back to the cabin, and me and Chad will make time for a little Q&A. So here we go.
Alright, so I like this question. It says you should share your first elk hunting experience and what you learned from it. My first elk hunting experience actually was out here in Utah. I think this is actually the only place I've ever hunted elk. But it was archery hunting, me and my dad. And I remember the first night we got out there, because we got in early, we hunted that evening. And I go walking through the trees, and there was a really big bull in the area that other people had been seeing. There was a couple of people, especially some friends that we knew, you know, Will, and and they were hunting this bull. And they called him Caribou. And
big bull,
a huge bull. He ended up scoring like 412, just monster, super unique looking bull. But I come walking through the trees, and it's right at last light in the evening, and I peek out of the trees, and I see this bull 100 yards from me, just raking these sunflowers. And so what they told me was, if it's in the sage, you're basically on the public. If it's ever on any type of ag field, it's off. Well, I didn't have a GPS at that time, and there was right about 50 yards into that ag field that was still on the public, and he was right in that public still. And he had no clue I was there, just sitting there raking, and my jaw hit the floor, just staring at him for probably 20 minutes before dark. And I definitely could have got on my hands and knees and probably snuck within range and got him killed. But that was something I'll never forget. That was a crazy year. I mean, I saw multiple big bulls back there and just never got one killed. So it was awesome though.
That's your first experience. Mine goes back to my childhood hunting elk with my dad and my grandpa. It was before I actually hunted and carried a tag, but it's kind of funny because the first time I saw my dad and grandpa shoot a cow elk, I was like, done. I'm not hunting. And I didn't hunt for a long time. I just actually enjoyed filming wildlife instead. So that was my first elk hunt experience. And it was you know, they always say like it's kind of hard. Sometimes kids can either love or hate hunting depending on how you introduce it to them. And it's not my grandpa's or dad's fault, but watching that thing get gutted was not my thing. I was like, I'm not doing this. And I didn't have anything wrong with hunting. I just didn't want to be the one to pull the trigger. In fact, I actually love to go with people and film their hunts, and that's why I still film my hunts today. But so that was my first elk hunting experience.
So is that what deterred you, was the gutting part of it?
Big time, yeah. Man. It was kind of sad, you know, watching them shoot the cow and watching it die, and then watching them cut it up.
I remember the first animal I ever killed was a deer with my bow when I was, I think, 12. And I shot it and actually got back on it and actually watched it die, and I like almost started crying. Like I was devastated, but at the same time I was like so excited because it was something that I wanted so bad, and trained so I would shoot my bow every day after school and after wrestling practice, and just was like so focused. And then when it actually happened and I watched it die, I was like just devastated inside, you know. But it was crazy mix of emotions.
It is, and I think a lot of people that don't hunt or don't know a lot about hunting, they don't understand that. They think we're out there to kill for fun. They think we get joy in the killing, and that's not true for most hunters, not at all. That's probably the worst part of the hunt, for sure.
For sure, yeah. I mean,
taking a life, it's a big deal.
It is, it really is, and it's like, you know, we have respect for the animals. It's not like we're out here just maliciously mowing them down with machine guns or something. It's like we put in the time to make a clean kill. We put in the work. We train for it, prepare for it. Does it always happen? No, but that's how life and death is. It's like sometimes it's pretty, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's a good question. Let's scroll the next. I like this one. It's because I think it'll reach a lot of people. It just says, what's the best way to start elk hunting? So that's a good question. There's so much to learn. You definitely need to look into your state's rules and regulations and drawing applications process. Some areas you can buy tags over the counter, and other areas are like a limited entry or lottery draw that some states call them. That you actually have to apply for. So you want to look into that long before hunting season. In my state of home state of Utah, you apply for hunting tags in February, and you'll get like the results in March or April or May or something like that. And then after that, it's you just need to start finding areas of public land that you can hunt that do hold elk. And after that, it's just scouting, setting trail cameras, just learning as much as you can about elk. But I'd say it all starts with just finding out the rules and regulations of where you want to hunt.
Mm-hmm. And depending on what season you're going to be hunting them in, I mean, the rut is probably going to be your most extreme style of hunting for elk. That is my personal favorite way of hunting anything, actually, elk in the rut. I've done it a couple times and it's unreal. They bugle, so I don't know if you guys have ever heard an elk bugle, but it just screams at the top of its lungs. They're trying to show their dominance. They get real aggressive, get this really big swollen neck, huge surges of testosterone through their body, and they fight a lot, and it's really awesome to see. I mean, my bull, the one that I got in this was, they wallow, they roll in the mud, they pee in it and roll in it because they want to smell. For whatever reason, that attracts the ladies. But learning all that type of stuff, if you're going to go into an elk hunt during the rut, is key. You can learn how to cow call, learn how to bugle. When you use these, there's definitely different ways that you want to use those when you're in there hunting, but the strategies for that type of stuff is definitely key, I think.
Yeah, that's for sure. Learning, like Chad said, their behaviors, the food sources they eat, where they bed, stuff like that is very important. So I would say, first off, learn the rules and regulations of where you want to hunt, locate the elk, and then just learn their behaviors, like Chad said, calling, feed, water. I mean, you really just need to pay attention to detail when you're out there. Check for tracks. If you watch the series, you can see like we're really checking for tracks. Those don't lie. So you just got to get started, and then you just take baby steps. There's a lot of information online. There's a lot of YouTube videos that you can learn from on how to call elk and stuff like that. So I
learned a lot on YouTube. Before I came out here the first time, I was just searching all kinds of stuff. But you could definitely learn a lot. This one's a really good question. It says, you seem really passionate about hunting. So my question is, are there any correlations or things that you have learned in mixed martial arts that helped you or have attracted you to hunting? For me, being an athlete, and I'm sure you know it too, you're just competitive by nature. And a hunt to me, like we just talked about, isn't about the killing. It's almost about a competition between myself and the wild animal in their backyard. I'm, trying to learn everything about them, like we just talked about. People say, oh, it's so easy to go in there with the rifle and just kill them. Well, you guys got to see on this trip, like, it's not that easy, just because we have a gun doesn't mean we're just in there just mowing everything down. So you have to really understand the animal. You have to get in there and learn everything about them and hopefully get lucky sometimes. So, for me, mixed martial arts, I'm training every single day, and that just, obviously makes me, an athlete. Obviously I'm in shape. When you get out here and you're hiking around the mountain, there's guys that are just so out of shape that, they'll see an elk up on the top of the hill and they're like, I'm not going to go after that because I can't get up there, and being an athlete and being in shape, you never have that mindset. So I think what that does is just, better our odds, better our chances to get in there and actually getting it done. But there are definitely some similarities, competing, getting in the octagon, you get that huge adrenaline rush. When you have a big elk in your crosshairs, or when you're sitting there hearing it and listening to him scream, and you're about to fling an arrow at him, I mean, your adrenaline is just through the roof. And both in fighting and in hunting, when you get to that spot, you have to stay calm. You have to be able to think clearly. There's a lot of emotions running through you, but that's the heat of the moment right there, and that's what we train for as a fighter. When you're in there actually fighting, you know, you can't just black out and just start swinging. You have to think about what you're doing. There's skills, there's strategy, and the same thing with hunting. So
yeah, that's good, man. I don't train MMA for the record, but when it comes to, you know, just training in general at the gym and stuff, I'd say for me it was mental toughness, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Chad knows if he can push himself through training, a fight, day in and day out, then that mentality of that like never give up mentality definitely crosses over to hunting and just staying positive. So, you know, like I said, I don't train MMA, but that never give up kind of attitude has definitely got to come over to hunting.
He's got it though. I mean, there was times on this trip where I was starting to break mentally, just trying to stay positive. You know, we weren't seeing elk. We were hunting our asses off every single day. And old positive Eric over here just kept it going. So whether or not he's in the octagon, he's definitely got that positive mentality. And it definitely helps in the hunt. I mean, you guys got to see last day of the hunt. I mean, we thought our chances were pretty much done. And, you know, we just kept after it and got it done. So just never give up.
All right, so we got a question here. Someone asked, how many elk have you and Chad both killed? So I'll go first. I started elk hunting with the bow. I've now taken 4 with a bow and 1 with a rifle. So that's my 5th right here. And all of them are special and unique in their own way. And looking back on all of them, I've learned so much. And every time you hunt, you definitely take, you know, the new knowledge you've gained into the next one.
Sure.
So I've killed 5 elk.
Me, I've killed 2 with my bow, and this is actually my first rifle elk. And had many opportunities at some big bulls, but like Eric said, every time you get in there and either fling an arrow at an elk or, you know, you shoot at an elk, it's a learning experience. You know, and, you know, we don't have tons of people like in our ears, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to do. It's, you know, you're in there figuring it out on your own. I mean, like we said, you can watch the YouTube stuff and learn strategies and stuff, but there's a lot of it that you can only figure out and understand getting out there chasing these animals. So yeah, I've only killed 3 now. So
3?
Yeah.
Cool. It's great meat. All right, I got a question. This one's for Chad. Is it true you can tell the age class of a bull by tasting his droppings? Chad was over there playing with the droppings a lot.
Tasting them.
No, that's why you were touching them and licking your fingers.
I was touching them, but I was not licking them.
7-year-old bull. Awesome question, man. All right, I'm going to have Chad find one.
All right, let's see what we got. All right, here's one. Not so much exactly geared towards elk hunting, but hunting in general. My question is, how long have you been hunting, and how did you and Eric become friends? I've been hunting, honestly, since as long as I can remember. I mean, I started with my dad probably when I was 4 or 5 years old. I remember going deer hunting up through the Sierras, up above Fresno. I grew up in Hanford, so we would go up there during deer season every weekend. Sometimes we'd get out for about 5 or 6 days, sometimes a week, and just hunt the entire time. And I remember just following my dad on these deer trails through the woods, and, you know, him just kind of showing me like what to look for and how to be quiet, and you know, and I just fell in love with it. My dad used to make me these bow and arrows when I was a little kid, and you know the flagpoles that go in the back of a quad, like if you're in the dunes or something, the fiberglass ones, he'd cut them, notch them, and then he'd put like some kind of rope or something, and then he'd cut another piece and make an arrow out of it. And I would just go to school and come back and just shoot cans in my backyard for hours till dark, and just absolutely loved everything about it. I remember walking around my neighborhood with that same bow and arrow, trying to hunt pigeons on the ground. Like I'd sneak around a corner and try to shoot at them. Never got any, but so that's basically how I started hunting. It was all because of Big Al.
So I started hunting. My dad started dragging me from California to Utah, small town in southern Utah where he grew up. I had no clue what we were doing coming from California, but you know, I was young. I'd say the first time I was actually like really participating in the hunt with my dad was, you know, around the age of 12 when I could hunt Idaho for big game. Like I said, once I saw him shoot the cow, I cut it off right there, and I did not hunt personally until about 20 or 21 years old. And that's when I took my first deer when I was about 20. And that's, I mean, since then I was like, all right, I can do this. You know, I can do it. I love the meat. I'm going to continue this, and heck, still doing it now.
That was here in Utah?
I was here in Utah, my first hunt.
That's awesome. Rifle or bow?
First deer was with the rifle. I think my first 4 deer was with the rifle.
Nice, that's awesome. And then we actually became friends hunting down here in Utah. Yeah, we I want to say that was my first elk hunt.
I think it was your first time down here. Yeah, which probably was.
I think we came back twice though. That first year that I ever came here, I think me and my dad came back twice. We came back anyways, but we hunted once. I think we had to go home, take care of business, and I think we came back. And I think we hunted on the second trip.
Okay.
And that's when we missed that giant bull. You'd missed what, a 386?
I missed a giant bull from well back there. Scored 386. They killed it on a neighboring unit, but we met through a mutual friend, Will Farah. Great guy. We both spent a lot of time with Will down here, man. We really do miss his energy down here. It's been bittersweet coming back down here because I haven't been back since he passed away. So this hunt, you know, we dedicated. I dedicated it to Will. I know you wore his, what do you call that, like a little pendant?
Yeah.
I still got it on that we got at his funeral.
I've wore this on every single hunt this year, and I've tagged out. It's my good luck charm. Will's looking down on us.
But it is pretty cool how we met because I'm a huge UFC fan, man. Back before it was kind of like, I'd say, you know, more popular, I was going to Blockbuster back in the days and renting VHS.
I used to do that
back
too.
then when there was no rules and there was like no weight classes. Everything I can get my hands on. My mom must have thought I was crazy. I don't know what she thought, like renting me these UFC videos, but I enjoyed them. So I was a huge fan of Chad before I ever met him. And what's funny is we met and like I got to learn and know Chad as a hunter, like a sportsman, before a fighter, and it was cool because we had so much in common. We hunted together, we found a big set of elk sheds together, we had a great time. We hunted like every day together. Chad got an opportunity to big giant bull back there, but that's what's really cool I thought was you know, like I said, I got to meet Chad and learn about Chad as a hunter and a sportsman long before a fighter. I mean, it wasn't until this trip that I really started asking him questions about like fighting and UFC because it intrigues me. You know, I'm a huge UFC and fight fan, so. That's
cool. Yeah, for me, like none of my teammates are really hunters, so it's awesome to be able to hang out with you and just talk hunting whenever, wherever, and not have to worry about it. I start talking about with all those guys and they're just like, dude, shut up. Like they just get tired of it. So it's cool to be able to just be myself. You know, yeah, I'm a fighter. I love fighting, but hunting and fishing, the outdoors, that's like my ultimate passion. So I just feel like I'm myself out here. So that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, so that's how we met, right down here, man. And this is a cool way to kick off this semi-live series, is for me and Chad to hook up again on a, you know, since we met, we haven't hunted together since we met. So we did this, and we plan to do like a semi-live series on both channels, and I think you guys really enjoyed it. So I want to say thanks for following along.
Yeah, thank you guys. That was awesome. My first time doing it, and it's cool to be. I mean, we get all these clips and all this footage throughout a week-long hunt, and it's tough to try to fit everything in, you know, especially in like a 15 to 20 minute video. So being able to do that every single day, you guys got to see pretty much everything, and you got to see how tough hunts can be, and you know, this is real. Like this is what it's like. So it was awesome, man. We were successful, and hey, that's a trip I'll never forget. Thanks, Biggie.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks,
Thank
Chad.
you.
That was fun. Check it out. Loaded down. Like they say, all good things must come to an end. So it's time to say goodbye to Money Mendes. Look at that face.
I don't want to leave.
I'm trying to talk this guy into moving to Utah.
It'll happen eventually. Dude, after a long trip like this, I get post-hunt depression.
It starts sad, now.
Yeah. The day you leave, it's so sad. I love it. I just love being out in the woods and hunting and hanging out with good people, you know. Back to the grind. Back to the grind, man. I haven't spent many days home. It'll be nice to just go hit the gym and relax. And then I'm off to Idaho to hunt mule deer. So, anyways, Chad, dude, thanks for coming, man. Oh yeah, man. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it, brother.
Really enjoyed it.
Drive safe.
Okay, you too.
Till next time, buddy.
Yep. Later, man. Hey.
I'm locked in.
See you later, man.
All right, buddy.
Enjoyed it.
We will.
For sure.